My soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even to death. Stay here and watch with me.
He went a little farther and fell on his face and prayed.
Oh, my Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will.
Then he came to the disciples, and he found them sleeping, and he said to Peter,
What? Could you not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray, lest you enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak.
Again, a second time, he went away and prayed.
Oh, my Father, if this cup cannot pass away from me unless I drink it, your will be done.
And he came and he found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. So he left them, went away again, and prayed the third time. Then he came to his disciples and said to them,
Are you still sleeping and resting? Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is being betrayed into the hand of sinners. Rise, let us be going. See, my betrayer is at hand.
Whomever I kiss, he is the one. Seize him.
Immediately he went up to Jesus, and he said,
Greetings, Rabbi.
and kissed him.
But Jesus said to him,
Friend, why have you come?
Suddenly, Peter stretched out his hand, drew his sword, and struck the servant of the high priest, and cut off his ear. But Jesus said to him,
Put your sword in its place, for all who take the sword will perish by the sword. Or do you think that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he will provide me with more than 12 legions of angels? How then could the Scriptures be fulfilled that it must happen thus? Have you come out as against a robber with swords and clubs to take me? I sat daily with you teaching in the temple, and you did not seize me. But all this was done that the Scriptures of the prophets might be fulfilled.
Then all the disciples forsook him and fled.
Then the detachment of troops and the captain and the officers of the Jews arrested Jesus and bound him. They led him away to Annas, who then asked Jesus about his disciples and his doctrine.
I spoke openly to the world. I always taught in synagogues and in the temple where the Jews always meet, and in secret I have said nothing. Why do you ask me? Ask those who have heard me what I said to them. Indeed, they know what I said.
One of the officers who stood by struck Jesus with the palm of his hand, saying,
Do you answer the high priest like that?
If I have spoken evil, bear witness of the evil. But if well, why do you strike me?
And those who had laid hold of Jesus led him away to Caiaphas the high priest, where the scribes and the elders were assembled.
But Peter followed him at a distance and sat with the servants to see the end.
Now the chief priests, the elders, and all the council sought false testimony against Jesus to put him to death, but they found none. For many bore false witness against him, but their testimonies did not agree. But at last, 2 false witnesses came forward and said,
This fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple of God and to build it in 3 days.
The high priest then asked Jesus,
Do you answer nothing? What is this these men testify against you?
but Jesus kept silent.
I put you under oath by the living God. Tell us if you are the Christ, the Son of God.
It is as you said. Nevertheless, I say to you, hereafter you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the power and coming on the clouds of heaven.
The high priest tore his clothes.
He spoken blasphemy! What further need do we have of witnesses? Look, now we have heard his blasphemy. He is deserving of death.
Then they spat in his face and beat him, and others struck him with the palms of their hands, saying, Prophesy to us, Christ. Who is the one who struck you?
Now Peter sat outside the courtyard, and a servant girl came to him, saying,
You also were with Jesus of Galilee.
But he denied it before them all.
I do not know what you're saying.
When he had gone out to the gateway, Another girl saw him and said to those who were there,
"This fellow also was with Jesus of Nazareth."
But again he denied with an oath,
"I do not know the man."
A little later, those who stood by came up and said to Peter,
"Surely you also are one of them, for your speech betrays you."
Then he began to curse and swear, saying,
"I do not know the man."
Before the rooster crows twice, you will deny me 3 times.
He went out and wept bitterly.
When morning came, all the chief priests and elders of the people plotted against Jesus to put him to death. They bound him and led him away to be delivered to Pontius Pilate, the governor.
"Are you the King of the Jews?"
It is as you say.
And while he was being accused by the chief priests and elders, he answered nothing.
"Do you not hear how many things they testify against you?"
But he answered him not one word, so that the governor marveled greatly.
Now at the feast, the governor was accustomed to releasing to the multitude one prisoner whom they wished.
Therefore, when they had gathered together, Pilate said to them,
"Whom do you want me to release to you? Barabbas or Jesus, who is called the Christ?"
"Barabbas!"
"What then shall I do with Jesus?"
"Let him be crucified!"
"Why? What evil has he done?"
"Let him be crucified!"
When Pilate saw that he could not prevail at all, but rather that the tumult was rising, he took water and washed his hands before the multitude, saying,
"I am innocent of the blood of this just person. You see to it."
"His blood be on us and on our children."
He released Barabbas to them, and when he had scourged Jesus, he delivered him to be crucified.
When they had come to the place called Golgotha, there they crucified him, and the criminals, one on the right hand and the other on the left.
Then Jesus said,
Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do.
They divided his garments and cast lots, and the people stood looking on. But even the rulers with them sneered, saying,
"He saved others. Let him save himself if he is the Christ, the chosen of God."
The soldiers also mocked him, coming and offering him sour wine, and saying,
"If you're the King of the Jews, save yourself."
and an inscription also was written over him in letters of Greek, Latin, and Hebrew.
This is the King of the Jews.
Then one of the criminals who were hanged blasphemed him, saying,
If you are the Christ, save yourself and us.
Do you not even fear God? Seeing you are under the same condemnation, and we, indeed justly, for we receive the due reward for our deeds. This man has done nothing wrong. Lord, remember me when you come into your kingdom.
Assuredly, I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise.
When Jesus therefore saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing by, he said to his mother,
Woman, behold your son.
Then he said to the disciple,
Behold your mother.
And from that hour, that disciple took her into his home.
Now from the 6th hour until the 9th hour, there was darkness over all the land.
And about the 9th hour, Jesus cried out with a loud voice,
My God, why have you forsaken me?
After this, Jesus, knowing that all things were now accomplished, that the scriptures might be fulfilled,
I thirst.
They filled a sponge with sour wine, put it on hyssop, and put it to his mouth. So when Jesus had received the sour wine, he said,
It is finished.
Then the sun was darkened.
the veil of the temple was torn in two.
And when Jesus had cried out with a loud voice, Father, into your hands I commit my spirit.
He breathed his last.
The earth shook and rocks split.
Tombs broke open, and the bodies of many people who had died came out.
The centurion and those with him who were guarding Jesus saw the earthquake. They were terrified and exclaimed,
Surely he was the Son of God.